Good afternoon, Southern California. Welcome to Crossroads, a nonprofit organization, to your favorite radio station, 88.7 FM. I am your host, Andy Zubia. What a great afternoon we're going to have here in the studio this fine, beautiful day in Southern California. As we're looking out into the Hollywood Mountains here from the studio, we can see that it's a beautiful day, probably about 85 degrees. It's sunny, beautiful day, the clouds overhead, just a perfect afternoon to have a fantastic radio show. I'm Andy Zubia, your host, 88.7, your favorite radio station. We want to welcome you to the program, and as usual, we're going to have some very, very interesting information for you, and boy, we have got a lot to talk about today. I am so incredibly impressed with what is happening up in the Napa Valley region. Let me just bring all of you that are listening here in Southern California, in Los Angeles County, throughout California, and on the World Wide Web, throughout the nation and throughout the whole world. Welcome to 88.7, your favorite radio station. And we're going to bring you some very, very interesting news today. A 6.0 quake rattles the Bay Area. You've heard right. There was an earthquake in Napa Valley, and there was a lot of damages to a lot of buildings. The quake left 35 units in the Napa Valley mobile home park with structural damage. There were a lot of injuries, a lot of damage to buildings. But we'll bring you all of that information in just a few minutes. And as usual, Crossroads, a nonprofit organization, is proud to bring you a radio show that is very informative, that brings you news all across this country, that is perfect for communities, for cities, for states, and of course for the nation. What a weekend this has been up in the San Francisco Bay Area. An earthquake hit. It's a 6.0 magnitude, and I'm sure that this news is probably being heard all around the world because it's going to make worthy news. We know that CNN is playing it, and Fox News, and all of the local television stations, and of course all the radio stations nationwide are recounting. 6.0 quake rattles the Bay Area. We're going to bring you a fabulous show, and also we have a very, very special guest for you this afternoon on the program. Without further ado, let me present to you Robert West from Platinum Preservation Company. Robert, welcome to the program, 88.7, your favorite radio station. How are you today?
Well, Andy, thank you for that very warm introduction. I'm doing just great. Excited to be here, excited to be talking about some of these subjects. You know, and certainly the quake up north has special relevance to all of us here. As we know, the Napa Valley Fire Department was very, very much involved in much of the cleanup and in rescuing people and getting them to the hospitals and such.
Absolutely, Robert. And one of the things that I noticed in the Los Angeles Times, which is one of the biggest newspapers in Southern California, Monday, August the 25th, 2014, page 9, we are actually seeing pictures of the Napa City Fire Department prominently displayed in one of the pictures, where you see a lot of destruction all around. I mean, the amount of destruction is probably going to run into the hundreds of millions of dollars, Robert.
Without a doubt.
Well, one of the most important subjects that we're going to talk about this afternoon on the program is fire and rescue operations throughout the United States. What an incredible job these firefighters do, these fire stations do for our communities, our cities, and most of the time they don't get the recognition that they deserve. These fine men and fine women all over America are putting their lives at danger and at risk, and what an incredible job that they do, right, Robert?
Absolutely. You know, the history of rescue operations is very lengthy. It goes way, way back. And unfortunately, again, additional people they've rescued and had to take to the hospital.
Not even a question. We are talking about firefighter rescue operations in Napa Valley. 6.0 earthquake rattles the Bay Area. That was front page prominently displayed in the Los Angeles Times the day Monday, August the 25th, 2014. This is Andy Zubia, your host, 88.7 FM, your favorite radio station. And in the studio today, we have Robert West from Platinum Preservation. Robert, once again, we thank you for coming on to the program. And incredibly enough, we are only seeing a very small portion of what happens during rescue operations, and we're talking about the earthquake up in the Napa Valley. But imagine this, Robert, as we're speaking right now, there are literally hundreds and hundreds of firefighter rescue operations at the moment throughout the United States, correct?
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about how many firefighter injuries there were last year.
I don't believe the figures are in as yet for 2014 or for 2013. The most recent ones I've seen were for 2012, but I think it's also a pretty logical and fair assumption to make that the injury levels have remained pretty much on the same level since then. But it was on the order of 69,400 injuries, if I recall, in 2012. This is, of course, for all 50 states, all the fire departments and rescue teams that are out there, but it's still a pretty shockingly high number.
So, in any given moment on any day, we have hundreds and hundreds of firefighter and rescue operations throughout the country.
I think we can count on that.
Absolutely. How does your company help in these efforts? How is Platinum Preservation involved in assisting fire chiefs, fire stations, and firefighters across the country to save lives and prevent injuries to firefighters?
Well, you've kind of hit the nail right on the head. Our main thrust has always been to promote safety among those people that are like our last line of defense against disasters. Okay, the rescue workers that are out there, and again, bear in mind, many of these people, close to 50% of them, are volunteers. They don't even get paid for what they're doing, but they're putting their lives on the line every single day.
So I guess one of the main missions that Platinum Preservation has is basically to educate fire chiefs and fire stations across the country as to what the latest equipment in the United States is to be able to assist chiefs and firefighter personnel in saving lives and preventing injuries, correct?
Yes, many times it is an educational process. Many of these people are completely unaware of some of the latest developments that are out there.
So tell us about the latest technology. Give us some highlights.
Okay, well, let's go back and start kind of at the beginning of all of this.
Sure.
Okay, now, the man who invented the diamond safety blades for the fire rescue operations, this is a very interesting piece of information. He's the father himself of 2 fire department officers.
Incredible.
Yes, now, both of his sons went through the fire training academy down in Florida. They both graduated with honors, and they have both now had careers that are close to 20, 25 years long in fire prevention and fire fighting. And this man has been in the saw blade business for most of his life, dealing strictly with the construction trades. He put his mind to this, and he said, I want to find out what these guys are using to get people out of cars, out of buildings, what have you, when they're trapped inside. And he learned that there was a very prevalent use of the K12 type rescue saw, and the blades that they were using were frequently breaking and failing on them as they were doing their operations, because back in those days the blades were all made out of abrasive, and it's a brittle material and it doesn't last and stand up to very much use. So he went back to the drawing boards with his engineers, and he said, what can we do? How can we improve on this design to really enhance the safety of the guys that are doing the rescue work itself? And they came up with a design concept in the first stage where they embedded diamonds into segments that they welded around a steel core. And instead of an abrasive that would break easily, the core was now made out of solid steel. And the diamonds enhanced the ability of the blade to cut, and to cut for a great length of time. The first generation of these blades actually would outlast those abrasive blades by a factor sometimes as high as 50 times to 1. And the fire chiefs embraced the product. They actually had it reviewed, and the first reviews of the radical new blades basically said that the pioneering chief who was the first one to do this in his fire department, his firefighters reported that it cut everything extremely fast without breakage. And the blade's durability, very exceptional versatility, and the exceptional life were the best they had ever seen. Now bear in mind, these were not the ultimate safety blades that we have available today. The design having segments around the edge ultimately would, towards the end of its life expectancy, have the propensity of accidents occurring and blades failing, because those segments would fly off sometimes as the welding joints themselves deteriorated. If you've been using a blade, let's say for a couple of years, and you've had it on numerous rescue operations, and you have had to cut through solid metal and so on and so forth, you have really strained the capabilities of that design past its limits. And having a segment fly off 2 ounces of steel with a square, sharp kind of an edge to it, fly at you off a 6,000 RPM rotating saw blade, that's no picnic. You don't want to be in the way of that thing.
Not even a question, Robert, and thank you for that information. I mean, what you are saying to me is that in the last 20 years, the technology for rescue operations has increased and has improved immeasurably. So right now we are at the core of what is happening at the very, very existence of fire rescue operations, correct? Robert, back to the program. What incredible information, and I think it all starts with education. So let me go over some of the staggering numbers. We have about 40,000 fire stations across the country. And your mission, Platinum Preservation, is to basically save lives and prevent injury. And we want all of these chiefs and firefighters and volunteer personnel to go home every single night or every single day to their families, correct?
Yes. If we could reach all 40,000 of them and get that message out to all of them, I would be one very happy man.
Well, let me say this to you. I think that that's a very worthwhile mission. And one of the primary reasons why Crossroads, a nonprofit organization, has these programs is to educate all over the country and to promote fire stations and firefighters all over the United States, because our mission is to bring them the latest information on new technologies, on new tools, so that it makes their job a lot easier. And basically the bottom line is we want to save lives and prevent injuries. So the scope of your education and the reason why you're coming to the program is because you want to get the word out to every fire station chief in America. Is that correct?
If we could do that, I would consider that a tremendous success. There's only so many cards and emails I can generate and get out there. There's only so many phone calls I can make. And if I could contact all of them directly, it would be a pleasure to be able to do that.
Well, on that note, Robert, why don't we talk about that concept, that we had communicated over the last several weeks to a lot of the fire chiefs in America is that we want to bring them on the show. We want to invite them to be part of the program so that they can give us their experiences with the Rescue Blade, so that they can talk about how wonderful it is and that it has met and exceeded their expectations, correct?
Yes, there is nothing more convincing. If you were a fire chief listening to this program, there's nothing more convincing to tell you the value of this blade than to hear it from other fire chiefs.
Absolutely, and one of the most precise pieces of information is we want to give them your information so that if any of the firefighters or fire station chiefs have any questions or any comments, they can call you, but we'll get to that in a minute, okay? Back to the program, 88.7 FM. I'm Andy Subia, your host, and we have on the program Robert West from Platinum Preservation. And as we started in the program earlier, a 6.0 quake rattles the Bay Area. I'm sure that there are hundreds and hundreds of fire station personnel out there, firefighters, volunteers. A lot of the local fire stations around Napa Valley have gotten involved in rescue and firefighter operations. So we want to welcome you to 88.7 FM, your favorite radio station. And what an incredible week this has been. We have been talking about fire stations, we've been talking about firefighters, and let's not forget that we're talking about human lives. 170 people have been hospitalized in this massive earthquake in the Frisco area, and we want to just remind you that the bottom line is this. We are having this radio show, and to tell you the truth, Robert, I had invited Barry Martin from the city of Napa, who is a spokesperson for the Napa Valley area and who is part of the rescue operations. And unfortunately, Barry Martin is very, very tied up with rescue operations and with everything that has been going on since the earthquake. So we were trying to get Barry Martin on the program. Barry Martin, to you, from 88.7, we send you our warmest regards. We want to thank you, thank all of the fire station chiefs, all of the firefighter personnel up in the Napa Valley. What an incredible job you're doing. You're saving lives, you're preventing injuries, you're helping people get to the hospitals. We salute you because you have such an incredible, incredible job, and the community thanks you. We thank you here from Southern California. From us in Los Angeles to the Napa Valley, we send a warm hello and we send our regards, and we basically hope that all is well, and we wish the very, very best for Napa Valley citizens as well as for everybody that is part of the rescue operations in the Napa Valley. Robert West, would you kindly give your information to the listeners out there?
Happy to. I'm the managing partner at Platinum Preservation, a company dedicated to providing fire and rescue workers with the equipment, the tools, the gear, to help them to do their jobs and to stay safe at the same time. Our phone number, this will reach me directly, is 213-388-6037. Our address is 3540 Wilshire Boulevard, penthouse number 5, Los Angeles, California, 90010. If you'd like to reach me directly, you have questions, comments, concerns, my email address is robert.platinump@gmail.com. That's robert.platinummp, the P as in Peter, @gmail.com. We have been in business, by the way, since 2007.
And I know that you have been in the same location for 22 years now, right? Same building?
Correct.
So you were here in the 1990s, and
Yes.
right now, Platinum Preservation has been in business for 7 years. And that grew out of, I think, your desire to promote fire safety all across the country, correct?
Absolutely correct.
Once again, I'm Andy Subia, your host. This is 88.7 FM in Southern California and on throughout the country on the World Wide Web. Welcome to the program. A 6.0 earthquake has hit the San Francisco area, specifically Napa Valley. Rescue operations are underway as we speak. 170 people were taken to the hospital. What a courageous job these fire stations are doing up there. What an incredible job the fighter personnel are doing up there. And in a way, Robert, you are part of rescue operations because your blades and your gear make up part of rescue operations because they save lives and prevent injuries, correct?
Yes. And as a matter of fact, to piggyback on that, every stage of development, of evolution, since the first diamond blades that had segments on them came out, has been towards improving, to making these blades better and safer, more durable, also more universally usable. For instance, the very first generation of diamond blades were only specifically designed to be used in 2 rescue saws, both of them made by the company Husqvarna. Okay, and today, the rescue blades that we provide to the fire departments come so that they're universally usable, mount to any arbor of the 2 most commonly used arbors. One is 1 inch, the other is 22 millimeters. And our blades will go on either one.
Perfect, Robert. Let me just say this. I know that some fire station chiefs across the country have really embraced the concept of ordering their blades over the telephone and via the internet. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, needless to say, the media, the technology of communications has made things a lot quicker, a lot easier. We can talk to somebody across the entire country now, just as though they were sitting in the office right next to us. And people have realized that the means by which they make the purchases are secondary, really, to the efficiency and the speed with which their requests can be handled. Now, for instance, back in the old days, typically people would respond in writing, perhaps to advertisements that they had seen in professional journals or in trade publications or what have you. Okay? Today, it's very easy to reach out and within a matter of seconds be connected with the person that you need to talk to. And I have found that people are willing to take the blade on the strength of the blade itself. But we back the blade 100%, for instance. So we take all of the risk on ourselves when we're dealing especially with somebody that hasn't encountered or used this blade in the past. We will actually ship them a blade and allow them the time to check it out and make sure that it does everything it's supposed to do before they even have to pay an invoice.
You know what, Robert? That's so incredible. So basically what you're saying is you take 100% of the risk. So the fire station chiefs do not have to be concerned at all. And you know what? Talking about that, I know that some chiefs call in to Platinum Preservation and they order the blades right over the phone, correct?
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about how that works.
Well, most of that activity, of course, is repeat business.
Of course.
Okay, these are people that have already purchased one blade or more from us and have experience with them and know how good they are. They love these blades. And what we find is many times the person that started out just trying one blade will end up ordering a multiple number the second time around.
And for jurisdictions, large jurisdictions, that want to order 20, 30, 50 blades, Platinum Preservation can handle that, correct?
There's no problem in terms of the logistics, and for what it's worth, we get very aggressive with the discounting when they get into those kinds of numbers. If they order 20 blades from me, they're going to get quite a hefty percentage knocked off the top.
That's perfect, Robert. 88.7 FM. I'm Andy Subi, your host. You know, let's talk about jurisdiction. Let's talk about geography. We are here in California, and basically you service fire stations all across the country, correct? Now, we mentioned
Yes.
earlier in the program that there's about 40,000 fire stations, and basically your mission is to get the word out to every fire station and every fire chief in America, correct?
All 50 states.
Fantastic. Robert, we should actually do another radio program because we want to continue with the coverage of the Napa Valley earthquake. 170 people were hospitalized. This just happened this morning. What an incredible news coverage that the Los Angeles Times here in Southern California has done. And we were trying to get Barry Martin, who is with the city of Napa. We were trying to get an interview with him, but we understand that the personnel are very, very busy up there. We were also trying to get the fire chief to come on the program and just tell us a little bit about rescue operations in Napa. So, may I say this, Robert, what an incredible show. I think the information that you have given us is invaluable because once again your mission is to promote safety and save lives, and basically you want all of the fire stations across the country to have the latest technology, the latest tools in rescue operations.
Correct.
Once again, could you give us your contact information, please?
Sure. I'm Robert West. I'm the managing partner. The company is Platinum Preservation. Our address is 3540 Wilshire Boulevard, penthouse number 5, Los Angeles, California, 90010. My phone number is 213-388-6037. Anybody that wishes to ask questions or has comments or concerns is welcome to call me or email me at robert.platinump@gmail.com. And that again is robert.platinump, P as in Peter, @gmail.com.
Well, we're going to close the show now, Robert, but once again, we want to invite fire station chiefs across the country to call you with questions, comments, or concerns. And actually, we're thinking of future programs where we can invite fire chiefs to actually come on the program and be part of a panel discussion because there's just so much ground that we need to cover.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful idea.
So
And I would invite as many as you can, but particularly those that already have experience with the safety rescue blade. Okay, because those are the ones we need to help spread the word about how much of an improvement these are over anything else these fire departments have ever seen or used.
tell us what these blades can do in just the few minutes that we have before we wrap up the show.
Sure. Well, first of all, let me fast forward to the FDIC convention last April and the premier appearance of the very recently developed Eagle Safety Rescue Blade. Now, there are several key points to be made about this most recent refinement and evolution to the ultimate performance this blade brings to fire and rescue teams everywhere. The American Eagle Rescue Blade, also known as the Eagle Safety Rescue Blade, is a trademark brand name registered by Platinum Preservation. As of August 2014, this is the only diamond rescue blade endorsed by the AFPA.
Tell us what that is.
That's the American Fire Protection Association. Now, the Eagle blade is a direct descendant of the original diamond safety rescue blade, first seen years ago. In several key areas, this blade is superior to the original from years ago because it's the result of continuing advances in diamond blade engineering and design. It's now a universal fit for all rescue saws. It's no longer limited to Husqvarna. Prior to the introduction, under Platinum Preservation's sponsorship of the Eagle series, we were promoting and selling the best available diamond blades as part of our corporate commitment to do everything we can as a business to promote safety and provide life preservation gear to the heroic men and women that we're so very, very fortunate as Americans to have as a line of defense against the catastrophic realities of fire, accidents, and natural disasters.
Thank you so much for that, Robert. That is absolutely great. We absolutely thank you for coming on the show. Your generosity, your time is very, very much respected. This has been Andy Zubia, your host, 88.7. Crossroads, a nonprofit organization, brings you the very, very latest in radio programming for your community, your city, your state, and all across America. We want to wish all of the people up in Napa Valley the very, very best. Safe speed, Godspeed, fast recovery. We hope that things stabilize in the Bay Area. For all of you that joined us on the program, we want to thank you for listening to the program, and for all of the fire chiefs out there, we want to thank you, and we want to thank all of your personnel. Andy Zubia, your host, 88.7. Till next time, have a great, great day, a wonderful week, and the very best to you now and always. Be well.